I want you to watch this 2015 interview with that sociopath Netanyahu and what his plans are for Africa.
Educational purposes.
Watch this video,
only.
and I'll be right back.
So I suggested to some of the European countries a simple partnership. We form consortiums to deal with individual countries, help them with their economy, help them with their security. The Islamist movements in Africa are not yet strong. They can be defeated today. They can be defeated today. It'll be a lot harder tomorrow. And my point is, in addition to the battle of ideas, there's the battle. You have to win the battle. And the earlier you win it, the cheaper it will be. The longer you wait, eventually, these forces will dissipate.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren and I'm Maureen. How many of you guys know about a brother called Riza Islam? So Riza once said that palm-colored people, they study black people and they've gotten so good at it that we don't even realize it ourselves. They study us by how we move, they study our culture, and they study even how we sleep, even how we eat. They study everything. And you have to ask yourself, what is it that exactly that they're looking for? What is it exactly that they want from us, right? So in today's video, guys, we are going to be reacting to a video of Netanyahu in an interview back in 2015, guys. I know a lot of people, this is why they say the internet never sleeps or forgets, right? And in this interview, Netanyahu was talking about how he called the European countries for a partnership in order for them a partnership, for a partnership and a conference for them to talk about Africa and how they can best help Africa, right? What does this remind you of? All these conference calling, all these meetings about Africa? The Berlin Conference, which happened before colonization, and these European countries, they called a Berlin Conference in order to sit down and divide Africa. France, this will belong to you. Nigeria goes to these people. East Africa is going to go here. That is what they did, sitting down to divide Africa, its the country, its resources, and its people. Yeah, and since 2015 till date, you see that some of the things that Netanyahu was talking about in 2015, imagine you guys, they've started picking the African countries one by one, dealing with them one by one. They're taking care of business, They have been taking care of business since that 2015 to right now, where he said he had or was going to call for a conference. So guys, before we talk so much, we want to play you this video and we want you to listen carefully, okay? And then we come back and we'll give our opinion after the video. If you have any, please leave it on the comment section. And also consider subscribing. Let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
I want you to watch this 2015 interview with that sociopath Netanyahu and what his plans are for Africa.
Educational purposes.
Watch this video,
only.
and I'll be right back.
So I suggested to some of the European countries a simple partnership. We form consortiums to deal with individual countries, help them with their economy, help them with their security. The Islamist movements in Africa are not yet strong. They can be defeated today. They can be defeated today. It'll be a lot harder tomorrow. And my point is, in addition to the battle of ideas, there's the battle. You have to win the battle. And the earlier you win it, the cheaper it will be. The longer you wait, eventually, these forces will dissipate. Because there is no hope, there is no future for a world of darkness. A world of darkness. And I think the Islamists will lose out. But it may take decades, it may take half a century. Nazism was defeated, but it claimed the life of millions, tens of millions of people, and a third of my people. I think defeating them early is important. We'll defeat them in the battle of ideas, but let's defeat them on the ground as well.
That sociopath Netanyahu likes to use the word darkness when referring to people. Kinda weird. Lot of Yahtzee energy. But I digress. How many people in Africa are Muslims? It was estimated in 2002 that Muslims constituted 40% of the population in Africa. Islam is the main religion of North Africa, the Horn of Africa, Sahel, and the Swahili Coast, and West Africa, with minority immigrant populations in South Africa. That's a lot of Muslim people. Now, he has already said that he talked to European countries to come up with a coalition that they can all come together and go into Africa and do fuck what. Now, I wonder what plans they carved out for Africa. Ain't the first time they carved out plans for Africa. Let's not forget the Berlin Conference of 1884 and 1885. What was the purpose of the Berlin Conference? Otto von Bismarck created the Berlin Conference to settle disputes between the European powers with interest in Africa, to create pseudo borders of ownership, allowing various European nations to claim almost the entire continent, including its resources and their what? People. Mind you, there were whole civilizations in Africa, people that were living there. That was their home, their land. And the European countries had a conference to say, well, who gets a piece of Nigeria? Who gets a piece of Congo? Who gets a piece of South Africa? And they went and attacked Africa and stole the land. Now that sociopath Netanyahu stated that he had a meeting with European countries so that they can discuss what they should do with Africa under the guise that they're going after the Islamic movement in Africa. For those who keep thinking this is isolated just in, it's not. This is not even the Zionists against it is colonization against the indigenous populations. This is what we're seeing right now. Everything is interconnected. Keep thinking this ain't got nothing to do with you. If we don't step up and stop what's happening they're coming for the world.
The Palestinian struggle is not just a cry for justice. It's a blistering battle for the most fundamental human rights that every living soul on this planet should inherit by birthright. It's an unyielding resistance against the oppressive, suffocating grip of occupation and the callous denial of the most basic human dignity. Just as the civil rights movement in the United States fought against the chains of racial discrimination, so too do the Palestinian people strive to shatter the chains of occupation and tyranny. Never forget, my friends, that the Palestinians, much like African Americans in the United States, have been subjected to a heart-wrenching history of suffering and torment. The birth of Israel in 1948 brought forth the mass expulsion and dispossession of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their ancestral homes and land. This is a historic injustice that continues to haunt the lives of Palestinians to this very day. The situation in Palestine serves as a brutal reminder of the consequences of colonialism and the ruthless dispossession of indigenous people. It is an agonizing reminder that the fight for justice knows no borders, and we must stand united in solidarity with all oppressed peoples, whether they reside in the United States, South Africa, or anywhere around the world.
After I liberate the Jewish people, I will go to Africa to help liberate the black people.
Video footage of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu talking about Israel's goals for Africa in a press conference in Uganda has many on the continent speculating what those plans and goals are. Will Africa be Israel's next target after they completely dominate Palestine? Watch the video and let us discuss.
We have tremendous opportunities. We've solved our water problem, even though we're a very dry land. We've solved our agricultural problem. We produce with great productivity vegetables, dairy. I always am boasting which cow produces more milk per cow in the world. You think it's a French cow or a Dutch cow. It's an Israeli cow. It's a computerized cow. Every move is monitored, you know.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. One question I have to ask you guys is that what exactly are these plans that these people have for Africa? I do believe that some of them they've started manifesting physically, happening, right? And what I have to ask is, how many times do these people really care about black people to the point where it is a must? It is a must they come in and save black people who cannot save themselves. Right. All black people cannot save themselves. Right. And you know the biggest question you're also asking, he was planning to come and cleanse Africa from the Muslim religion, Islamic movement. Yes, that exists in Africa. And mind you, that was as of early 2000s. The population of the Islamic community in Africa was at 40%. Right now, I don't know where it stands, but it was at 40%. Can you guys imagine just the number of people you have to eliminate or unalive that will equate to 40% of Africa? Right. And Africa has a huge population. It has a very huge population. And if he can't get rid of these 40%, how is he trying to get rid of 40% without necessarily harming or bringing to harm the rest of the 60%? It only means that they want Africa without Africans and they want Africa without black people, and because he is really cleansing the other country we shall not mention in the same sentence. And you guys, let's look at the history of palm-colored people who offer help to countries, okay? Do these countries ever end well? Right. Look at Burkina Faso, for instance. It was being helped before Traore stepped in. They were helping Burkina Faso to the point where they had to do a coup d'etat because there was so much involved in the activities of the country to the point where the people of that country were really languishing in poverty. But so long as the then leader was okay and comfortable, the palm-colored people were very free to do whatever they want in that country. But what happened? Traore chased these people away, and now after that they were like, their ego was hurt. How dare them? Black people can never allow, and I use the word allow selectively, okay? Because in their minds, they allow us to exist. They allow us to prosper. It's because they allow us to do things that we do them. They could not allow Traore to look like a good leader, yeah? They tried sabotaging his government, his leadership. Yes, and it was alleged that it was people from the France intelligence unit that were trying to sabotage his leadership, and they were also caught masquerading as journalists, That's the kind of help they were giving, they wanted to give Burkina Faso. And then you also look at a situation in Congo. They caught how many people? 2 foreigners interfering who were leading a coup. They were leading a militia. They were leading a militia to overthrow the government in Congo, right? And these people, it's alleged that they were CIA. So allegedly. You tell me, why is a palm-colored looking person with fur on their head found in Congo, a place where only black people exist, and they don't have furs on their head? They have hairs that are fighting gravity, if you know what I mean. Meaning, there's no particular point where it's natural or normal in that part of the country, because there's also war in that part of the country, to be found. What kind of help are they going there to do? They were found out, and they were beaten bloody. Yeah, and Netanyahu, his defense, he says that he's the same thing he said he'd do in Africa. He was protecting Palestinians and protecting Jewish people from Islamic Palestinians. But this person has committed an outright human he has brought a human crisis in Palestine, because he's unaliving both the innocent and people he perceives as the guilty. Yeah, he's so you guys annihilating everybody, meaning they're working their way up to annihilating the whole of Africa. They're not coming to save anybody. They're coming to annihilate everybody in Africa. Whatever is precious to them, you know what it is. It's the resources, not the people in Africa. Not only the resources, but also the land. Food, the land and water. Because you guys, for those who live in America, America does not have enough food, and you can correct us in the comment section for believing so if it is not. America does not have enough food. These are first world countries. Paris, France, they do not have enough food. Chinese people are buying land here so that they can export our fresh water to their people. You guys exporting water. Huh?
So guys, let us know what you think about this on the comment section. But again, to the people we are talking to, right? To our audience, to those people who are watching us from wherever you're watching us from. Remember, especially here in Africa, but black people across the world. When someone comes offering you goodies, when it's too good, think twice, okay? When someone comes offering you goodies, you have to look at where that help is coming from and the history of that particular person, their behavioral
and how
pattern.
they've gone in other countries rendering their help, and after they were done with those countries, how they left those countries looking like.
Right. The same palm-colored people are the same people who experimented on black Americans without them knowing. The same colored people are the same people who destroyed the black Wall Street of black Americans. They're the same very people who went to the neighborhoods of black people. These are the same people literally who can create a crime where it does not exist so that they can arrest you.
Yeah, and this, it just begs the question, how low does a person need to be to destroy an entire existence of other black people or whatever black people are trying to build in order for them to feel good about themselves? How low can they be? And guys, right now, my sister and I, much like most of us, not all, of course, most of us, we didn't exist during the era of Malcolm X, but I believe God wants us to listen to all these people, Malcolm X, Farrakhan. God wants us to listen to them for a reason. And when Malcolm X said that, until Africa is great, no one across the globe, if you are black, will ever be okay. Until Africa builds towards its respect, nowhere in the world will you ever find a black person being respected. We should listen carefully to these words, and we should look into why he was saying that, because for some of us it is quite obvious, but for some others not quite yet.
Yeah, it's why the Chinese can literally come to Africa, or it doesn't matter if you're African. If you go to China and you have dark skin, they're going to call you stupid in your face.
Yeah, the same thing the palm-colored people will do when you go to America. The same thing the palm-colored people in Europe will do when you go to America, because generally these people, they do not respect Africa. By extension, if you have anything black in you, it is not a must that you come from Africa. If you have any extension of blackness in you, by default, they also disrespect you, because most of them will even tell you, go back to Africa. And this, they don't even consider the fact that you've never stepped foot in Africa for them to assume that you automatically come from Africa. So guys, that's a food for thought. Please let us know what you think about this episode. And is it time for black people in general to also start studying these palm-colored people? I'm saying black people in general, but I know that people who've lived with them, like the black Americans and the blacks in UK, they have more experience with them. So they've started, if not knowing, they know how to read these palm-colored people. But us here in Africa, I can say we have a long way to go, and we are still naive when it comes to this subject of what the white people, what the palm-colored people are, and what they entail in general. Because also even our history as it is, we don't get taught in its entirety.
Can you imagine in Africa they get, what is taught is how great King Leopold was? The same thing they're doing in their countries.
Yeah, we are taught that, but we are also taught the atrocities he committed.
Yeah, but
not to the fullest extent.
Weight is kept on how, this journey of discovery,
how they brought religion and Christianity to us.
It's like a beautiful animation story,
Until I even wonder, where does our syllabus come from? Like, really, truly, who writes and approves our syllabus? Because it also wants to be changed, because of our syllabus, we realized our politicians are doing a lot of
harm than good.
Yes, harm than good. So talks were there that our government, at least the Kenyan government, also wants to change the syllabus to degrade it even further. Allegedly, we don't know. Allegedly, it talks. The grapevine talks. Yeah. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode, and also please consider subscribing if you've not subscribed to our channel. We'll see you on our next episode.